All right, everybody, I think we are live here. So thanks for joining me. I am Justine Mahoney, account executive here with Bangert, also third generational leader here. And whether or not you're on QuickBooks here today or you're on a legacy system, today's message is very simple. Forward-thinking companies simply don't wait until their accounting system breaks to make the change. They get ahead of the curve before growth and complexity start costing them time and money. So I want to make a caveat that I'm not here to convince you to make a change to your accounting system today. Now is not the right time for everybody. But there could be a good reason for why this time of year is a good time, and we'll get into that. So I am going to start with a quote from one of our customers, Flight Builders in Florida. And this is from their founder. He had said, "We would not have been able to make the decision to go to a modern construction accounting system right away if we had not looked ahead 3 to 5 years and asked ourselves, where do we want to be at that point in time?" They had major growth goals, and they simply knew that QuickBooks just was not going to cut it. So he said, well, it's easy to look at QuickBooks and say, okay, easy to get into, it's $200 a month. We really wouldn't have been able to look at that delta between a construction system and QuickBooks if we, again, had not looked ahead and asked, where do we want to be and get started on the right foundation. So in construction, growth without structure is far worse for companies than stagnation. And we've seen that companies if they don't adopt forward technology, they do fail. They get outperformed by competitors and so forth that have more technology, that are leaner in operations because they've optimized their tech and workflows. And at Bangert, we have realized that quick wins like automating AP approvals or setting up dashboards for project managers, simply helps to get early momentum with people on your team. And then also people just simply embrace things that make their days easier, not harder, right? I'm sure you've seen a bit of that and you know that, right? You don't want to make things harder for yourself. And while, again, there's never a perfect time to make a change, especially on accounting software, an example, if you're here today, I know there might be a few startup companies. If you're on QuickBooks, now may be the best time because you'll never have fewer projects than today. You may not be, you may be much busier in the future, right? So it is a good time rather than starting with creating those workarounds with your Excel workbooks and trying to get QuickBooks set up. It may make some sense to just do one implementation, get started on a construction accounting system that's modern, that will carry your company for years to come. So let's get into point number one. You're probably here to understand, what are some of those warning signs of, it's time to make a system change. And a lot of these you probably have already analyzed yourself potentially, but let's go through them and see what we got here. So first and foremost, I'm going to kind of go through a couple core things, and then we'll get into more strategic signals for your company, and then also some maybe granular, more tactical reasons why and how it's time to make a change. So core issues, like for QuickBooks users, for example, there's very limited job costing. You can't get WIP, work in progress reporting, out of the system. Lots of gymnastics for that. Retainage is hard to track, basically non-existent. Subcontracts, lots of things like that core construction functionality. And some companies that get started on QuickBooks, they may not know that they need to have accrual-based accounting because QuickBooks largely is a cash-based system. You can get accrual out of it, but we have run into companies that have to switch to a totally different way of accounting and want to catch that early. When you move to a modern construction system, you only get accrual accounting. And that's not just important for work in progress and good job costing, but it's important for your CPAs and outside auditors for your year-end reporting and so forth, bonding, all that stuff, right? So on the flip side of that, though, older systems, a lot of systems, more often than not today, are still 20 to 30 years old. And in the technology world, that is old. If you look at your phone, everything else you do, right, side by side to maybe your legacy system. So at Bangert, we sell and support Sage 300 CRE, very drastic difference, right, between your phone and the look and feel and the usage of that old system. It can be clunky, and even with a an old system, we find that a lot of companies are still doing a ton of manual workarounds with Excel, hard to get data in and out of the system, you name it. There's lots of issues and lots of efficiencies that can be streamlined. And we do have customer proof on our YouTube channel. I'll share a link here later with that in the chat. So let's dive into now kind of a sub point of this, some key maybe strategic signals that it's time to make change. Well, if you're a company owner or leader, you're recognizing that you want to reduce risk and liability. And that comes with number one, having a great construction accounting system that number one in today's day and age is modern. Perhaps you are growing and you're looking at potentially hiring a new person to help with the extra workload. That's a strategic decision to say, do we actually need to hire somebody, or maybe could technology help us out there? We have had customers, and again, those videos I'll share later, we've had customers say, with our modern system, when I thought I was going to have to add another person for AP or whatever it was, now a lot of that stuff can be solved by streamlining workflows in my new system, where I might not have to hire a full-time person. Or if I do, maybe it's a part-time person. And we all know that talent is hard to find these days, right? Especially in the accounting and construction world. So another key signal could be maybe you simply have growth plans, or you've already grown maybe 2 to 3 times of where you started. That's kind of a good rule of thumb here, that those kind of growth plans are not insignificant, and they do require you to have a dedicated construction system. And then lastly, you simply want to make the change before the busy season starts. Now, in construction, there's never a real slow time, so to speak. There may be better times of years than others, but now, for example, it's end of October, projects in the field are starting to slow down, particularly if you're in colder climates. It's before all the year-end stuff, the auditing, all that stuff. And we actually have had customers go live in 30 to 60 days with Bangert's deployment model at this time of year. So if you're thinking about it now could potentially be a good time if you have the time, capacity, and desire to do so. So let's get a little more granular, more tactical, those red flags. So if you're on a legacy system, you probably love this time of year because you're closing in on needing to do your year-end software update. That goes away with modern technology. That is so rare these days. What other system out there do you have to manually update? What other system do you have today that requires that? Anything that's Windows PC based for sure, but those systems are far and few this time around. And then, as I spoke to earlier, spreadsheets as well, right? So another key thing is job cost data takes you days, maybe even weeks to get kind of your accurate data from wherever it's coming from or whoever it's coming from, manual workarounds, Excel, disparate systems. And then related to that, your reports are always a month behind. That's another common scenario we come across when we talk to folks that are looking at a new system every day, like, hey, I wish my reporting was more in real time and I wasn't spending all this time trying to get my accurate data. And how about, let's talk about integrations for a moment. So maybe you don't have an integration with your project management tool, or it's very lacking. For example, let's take Procore. It's probably the most common project management tool out there today for construction. And it has several different integrations. There's QuickBooks integrations, Sage 300 CRE, there's Sage Intacct Construction, but all those integrations are different. And when you really look at an integration, you can't say, oh, great, this system integrates with my accounting software, done, I'll buy it. You really have to dig deep, because integration is kind of a blanket word. A lot of companies will say they have an integration, but it's really no better than an import or export. Because of system limitations, particularly on the accounting side, let's take QuickBooks, for example, it doesn't have all the construction accounting stuff in it. So those integrations are lacking just due to functionality. And then when you're looking at an older system and integrating a modern solution like Procore, that's cloud, right? The old APIs, application programming interface, those do not actually talk to the modern interfaces directly. So there's often a third-party tool that's required between an old system and a new system. And again, because of that architecture being archaic, that's where other limitations lie in the ability to successfully integrate data back and forth. If you're a company that has multiple entities, or you have plans to have multiple entities, it's harder to do that in QuickBooks or a legacy system typically. QuickBooks, you have to buy separate QuickBooks licenses for that. When you're in a modern system that's truly built for multi-entity, you're able to do that much more easily without buying separate instances, without logging in, logging out. You can work in multiple companies at the same time. That's what Sage Intacct Construction does. So lots of more ease of use than the old stuff, right? And then another kind of warning sign is that you don't have remote access, or if you do, it's a remote desktop and it's very slow and it's really not an ideal working situation. It gets you by, but it could be better. And it's the little things like that that start adding up to what could be better with modern technology. And lastly, rigid reporting. So, maybe you're, again, cobbling things together in Excel. You're only limited to the data you're able to get out of your system, and then the extra data has to be pulled in from elsewhere and put together using an Excel or third-party tool. Okay, so let's segue over into point number 2 of this session today, which means what happens when you upgrade early. So humor me for a minute and close your eyes. Now, imagine you just walked into your office, you sat down at your desk or your beach desk or your mountain desk, wherever that is. You pull up your browser, you put in a username and a password or autofill that, whatever, and you log in straight to your dashboard. And you notice there's a red flag on there. There's a major cash flow issue on one of your projects. And that wasn't there yesterday when you logged out. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, let me drill into that. So you're able to then select yesterday's date, refresh your dashboard, open up a new tab, look at today and yesterday side by side if you want to. Then you can drill into that red flag and look at what kinds of transactions happened when, who did it, have a full audit trail. And then you're able to take immediate action on that to remedy it. Whereas you're no longer limited, right? So immediate action if you want to. The tools are there for you to make it happen. So open your eyes now. You cannot do that in QuickBooks in legacy systems because the data is not fully there. And it's certainly not in real time. So you're having to do a lot of legwork, taking a lot of time just to get that information and get it remedied as quickly as possible. So the bottom line today is when you change systems sooner than later, and we have customer proof of this, several things are going to happen. Again, you'll have fewer manual workarounds, so you're going to have immediate time savings. You're going to get real-time insights that will prevent cost overruns. You'll have streamlined approvals. You'll have reduced IT costs, no manual upgrades, and no servers to protect and things like that. You'll also have better decision-making, and who doesn't want that? You'll have true visibility, not only across your projects, but also across your company and multiple companies if you have them. Modern systems, regardless of the price tags, do pay off very quickly. And again, we have proof of this. Proactive teams, they control costs, they scale confidently, and they avoid the panic upgrade that happens when a system breaks. So that brings me to point number 3, the final thing we're going to talk about here today, which is what does a smooth transition to a modern system? In this case, at Bangor, it's Sage Intacct Construction. What does that look like and what are the opportunities? So I'm going to share my screen here now. Last time I did this, I wasn't successful in the first go around, so bear with me. I'm going to make it successful this time. I'm going to share my screen. I'll make sure I add my screen here to my stage here. And I'm going to do a couple things here. bear with me a moment because I do want to show you Ask Richard, and that is our proprietary deployment tool at Bangert. I get my screen on the stage now. All righty, looks like we are successfully sharing. That is a win for me for today. Okay, so this is Ask Richard. This is Bangert's deployment tool. And it offers not only our deployment platform for Sage Intacct Construction customers, but it also offers a free AI tool that Bangert has built based on thousands of videos and content that we have online about Sage Intacct Construction. So today, after this, you guys can get in, go to askrichard.io, sign up for free, come in here to Ask Richard, and on my menu here, it's to the left, and ask it anything you want to know about Sage Intacct Construction. I'll make a quick caveat that it doesn't know everything. It's still learning. We want you to help us break it, so please go in. But it's gonna give you text and links to videos. And thank you, Nick. He told me I got my screen share. You probably saw that on my screen. But anyway, I'm successful to have that. So come in here, go to Ask Richard, and check it out. Now, quickly, and I'm not going to go deep into this today, but when you become a Bangert customer on deployment, you will have access to more of these menu items to the left. You'll have access to your planning room where you can plan out your timeline for your project. We can help you with that. You'll have access to invite team members to what they want to learn or need to learn for their jobs, and also access to sign up for our live classes, our daily Q&A sessions, for anybody on the team to open up a support ticket with us. And also, when you become a customer, you get access to Bangert's report library. So you can bring that stuff, take a look at reports, bring them into your system from here too. So again, I'm not going to go into this all today. If you want to see more, put Richard in the comments here, or just send me a private message. We can have a free consultation. We can talk about what it looks like some more, what you're considering for your company, and so forth. And I do want to make a last plug for Richard. Richard was named after my late grandfather, Richard Bangert. He was a very smart guy. He knew a lot, and we felt like it was only fitting to name this AI tool, this deployment platform, after him. So for any of you that are wondering, you see that face on there, that is my late grandfather, Richard Bangert, the company founder. And he's out there trying to help you as much as he can on Sage Intacct Construction. So with that, thanks everybody for joining me today. Really appreciate your time. Glad I got my screen share successful. I think I'll stop sharing now and so forth. But have a great rest of your day, and hope to talk to some of you soon.